So this video is going to be about how to create a believable character, how to make a character that other people can watch, they can believe, and they can sympathize with. So when you're trying to develop and build a character, you want to do all the research you can, and you want to be able to put in every little bit of effort that you can to build a character. One of the things that's very important to do when you're trying to create this other person is you have to get that emotion down. A lot of people, and you especially see this in high school plays or cheap community theater, you'll see a lot of people who will have the lines and they speak the lines, but they don't speak it with much emotion. Now, there is a side of this where people say, well, you just have the lines and you speak the lines. But there's a difference between speaking the lines where, say, your mom just died and you have to say this monologue of how much you cared for her and loved for her. Well, just speaking the lines like if you're just like how I'm talking to you right now would not be very appropriate to do for a monologue. It just doesn't fit. But now, say if you're just in an everyday regular situation and you have to speak your lines and say like you're talking to a friend, how I'm talking right now might be okay to use. But you have to build it around the right situation. So just speaking the lines and saying the lines isn't a bad thing. Some people will say to do that. And sometimes that's all you need to do. You just need to be yourself and you speak the lines and then boom, you have your character. Great. But in a situation like that, you have to have that emotional memory, something to draw upon. Now, some people aren't going to have that emotional memory, and that's okay. Hopefully, a lot of us have not experienced the trauma of losing a parent or losing someone yet in our life. But we then have to revert back to one of my other videos of what I said is use the imagination and learn from other people. Now, there are things that you can do to help give that emotion into your character. So one of the things that I'm going to explain to you right now, and Stanislavski talks about this a lot, is emotional memory. So in emotional memory, what that basically is you're remembering something in the past that has caused you to feel a certain way, and then you bring it about now. That's kind of basically it's using a stimulus. Your memory is the stimulus to build your emotion. But you don't have to just use memory to build a stimulus for yourself. Just even reading an article can be a stimulus for yourself. If you've ever read a book or you've read an article of some tragic thing that's happened and you felt either sad for the character or you felt angry or you had some sort of feeling, that is a stimulus right there that gave you a certain feeling in yourself. Maybe the stimulus is going to be you remember when you won an award when you were in high school or in college, and that might be the stimulus for you. Maybe it's going to be sad music for that sad scene, or maybe exciting happy music for another scene. But there are different things to help build your stimulus. Some of the strongest things is being able to remember events that have happened to you because maybe you've actually experienced them, and maybe you might not get that same feeling that you had before, but maybe you remember how you acted, your body language, what you did. Because there are some actors out there who will tell you they'll be able to do a scene and they'll seem like they have the emotion, but they don't feel any of it. But they do have the same body language of what they had. They had the same facial expressions, they had the same tone in their voice, which portrays a real character. Some people can do that, and if that's you, that's great. If not, then try to use that, emotional memory and think back and try and get the emotion with it as well. But there are different things and different stimuluses that can build your emotional memory. Now, it's good if you can remember these things and remember these emotional memories. Now, how do you remember them? A part of it is just building a stronger memory for yourself. So do things to exercise your brain. Read more. Read more scripts, read a book, whatever it is to take you to that place of just being able to remember things more. Do brain exercises. You can play chess, you can do certain board games, you can do puzzles, anything that's going to help you build your brain a little bit more. So what you're trying to do all together is you're trying to get that emotional memory or that stimulus. And to get that stimulus in yourself, try remembering things or try going back and see what makes you feel a certain way. If it's wearing a certain clothing that makes you feel a certain way, then do that to build your stimulus. If it's music, use music. If it's reading a certain article, a certain book, use that. Find what stimuluses start to work for you and pay attention to those. Different people are going to have different stimuluses. I can't just say for you, just use music because maybe for you, that won't work 100% all the time. And for some people, they have to switch. One day, maybe it's going to be music that works. The next day, maybe it's going to be this that works. Maybe it's going to be talking to an old friend that builds a stimulus for you, and then you have that feeling, and then you can bring it onto the stage, and you know how you act and how you're supposed to portray this character. So remember, try to find those stimuluses. Go ahead now and subscribe to this channel so you can be up to date with everything. Go ahead and leave a like and maybe share it so it can help someone else in building their characters and becoming a better actor. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.